Welcome to the RavensSpace on YouTube. My name is Jason, and this is RavensSpace Daily, where we talk about Baltimore Ravens news every single weekday. Thank you guys so much for joining me. We have 3 great news stories. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the RavensSpace on YouTube. Follow us on our different social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Also, check out our Patreon page, where you guys can help us out, and in turn, we hope that we provide you guys with great content. We'll hop right into the first of our 3 stories. And the first story is about John Harbaugh and where he ranks in the upper echelon of coaching. NFL.com came out with an article today and ranked John Harbaugh as the number 6 coach in the NFL. Now, all the coaches ahead of him are good coaches. I'm not going to say that they got it wrong, but I do think, in my opinion, that he's a little bit better than a lot of the coaches ahead of him. There's about 3 in particular that I think he's a better coach than, but just for some reason hasn't gotten the talent that these coaches have. So I'll tell you which coaches are in front of him, and I'll give you the blurb why they say he's the 6th coach. And I'll start with the quote. The Ravens' late season stumbles in 2016 shouldn't obscure what has been one of the most successful runs among NFL head coaches. Baltimore bounced back from the organization-wide frustration stemming from the 2015 campaign, when the team went 5-11, with nearly every loss coming via 1-score margin, to finish 8-8. That is Harbaugh's only losing season to date, as the Ravens have made 6 playoff appearances, competed in 3 AFC championship games, and won a Super Bowl in his 9 seasons on the job. And so, a lot of teams, when they think about the Ravens, they don't think about how dominant we've been, because we're not the Patriots and we're not the Steelers, right? Just from just thinking about the different championships. But you have to think that in 9 seasons, we've made the playoffs 6 times, and of those 6, half of them we were in the AFC championship game. And we should have won the first one against the Patriots, and we won the second one. Our team is a great team, and we're one of the best teams in the NFL in the last 10 years. And, you know, we had some stumbles in the seasons and different things like that, but John Harbaugh is a great coach. And a lot of people have been talking about if he's on the hot seat. If we ever fire John Harbaugh, some team would hire him quicker than anything, right? He will not be a free agent long. So I'll read you guys the names in front of him, and I'll tell you if I agree or not. Number 5, Andy Reid. Andy Reid's a great coach. I'm not upset with that one. Number 4, Mike Tomlin. I think Mike Tomlin has benefited from having great talent around him. I guarantee that if the Ravens had a top 5 quarterback, a top 2 running back, and a top 2 wide receiver, we would be a little bit more competitive, especially in the AFC. Mike McCarthy, you can't really, fault Mike McCarthy. He's a great offensive mind. Pete Carroll, I don't agree. Pete Carroll is lucky that the general managers have found great defensive players in the draft. Again, Russell Westbrook, they lucked into that pick. Things like that. So I can't give Pete Carroll a lot of credit, because he didn't draft these players, right? He didn't get some of these great players. They were given to him. So I can't really give him a lot of credit for that. And then, of course, number 1, Bill Belichick, greatest of all time in my opinion. So I can't say anything like that. But again, number 6 ain't bad. But I think John is a top 4 coach in the NFL. Let me know what you guys think about John Harbaugh, and we'll move on to the next topic. And the next news topic of the day comes from ESPN, and they do a Football Outsiders 30 best NFL teams in the past 30 years. I talked to you guys about the 30 best defenses, but now we're talking about the 30 best teams. And so the Baltimore Ravens are on there one time. The 2000 Ravens ranked 26. And they have this thing called DVOA where they rank them, so it's a number system. And then I'll read you the blurb they have here to explain why the Ravens are 26. Baltimore had a DVOA of 24.1% in the regular season, which ranks number 95 in the past 30 years. But the dominant playoff run the Ravens had turns them into a top 30 team. So again, you see, and I've talked to you guys before, that year we had a great defense, but our defense really turned it up. Now, if we didn't always have a bad offense back in those days, we would have been higher, but we had a bad offense. And you guys can look at the article so you can get the numbers and what they mean. They use DVOA, which stands for Defense Adjusted Value Over Average. So, you know, they track everything and do different things like that that is too complicated for this show that I don't want to talk about. So again, check it out. But the 2000 Baltimore Ravens in ESPN's metrics are the 26th best team in the last 30 years. And just for you guys' benefit and happiness, I'll give you the number 1 team. And the best team they say is the 1991 Redskins, which sure. I believe that it was a shortened season, but sure. And the last article is from the Baltimore Sun, and they say that according to 247wallstreet.com, that the Baltimore Ravens are the 12th most popular team in the NFL. And normally this is something I would lead with because it's like a catchy headline and something like that, and it would make people come. But after reading the article, I'm not so sure it means exactly what they're saying. So most popular, in my opinion, means, over the country, right? But they're doing it based on attendance at the stadium. So a better thing would be Ravens had the 12th most loyal fans, or the 12th most sold out games, or something like that. I don't think we're the 12th most popular team in NFL, because it sure doesn't feel like it, because ESPN doesn't care, NFL Network doesn't care, all these big things don't care, and that's because other teams, in my opinion, are more popular. Some teams that were below us, like the Giants, in my opinion, are just more popular. They're a New York team. So again, the Ravens have the 12th best stadium attendance, but I don't know if we're the 12th most popular team. Now, a lot of people do like Baltimore. I know I have some great subscribers and fans from California, from Mexico City. But to say that the most popular, I just don't. I don't know. But if you guys think so, let me know in the comments below. I'm just not sure that's the truth. But yeah, it was a nice story, so I wanted you guys to know about it. And like we do at the end of every single RavensSpace Daily, we answer a mailbag question from you guys. And today's question comes from Keith. And Keith asks, based off of Joe's recent years, would you say that he has declined since the Super Bowl, or he just doesn't have the right talent around him? This is a great question, Keith. Thank you so much for sending your question in. So the answer to both questions is yes, right? Now, I know that's not what you wanted to hear. You want one or the other. But let me just talk a little bit about both. So has he declined since the Super Bowl? Yes, because when he won the Super Bowl, he's the best he's ever been, in my opinion, with ball placement, with trusting his receivers, with footwork in the pocket, with being able to hold on to the ball, make big plays. And it wasn't, I don't want to say lightning in the bottle, but he hits his peak in the playoffs. That whole season before the Super Bowl, he was not great. The talk has been the loudest at that point in time, talking about Joe Flacco needs to be released or traded or something, right? If you remember, there was a game against the Washington Redskins where Joe Flacco threw an interception on the goal line, and then they stayed on the picture of him with his head on the ground. And I believe that was the game Lloyd Nada got injured because of the terrible turf and that DC has. So he was not great that season, but in the playoffs, he hit his peak. So yes, he has declined. Also, not only has he not been as good as he was at that point in time, but the talent around him is not as good either. And I was a big guy who was like, Anquan Boldin is good, but not great. But we saw that without Anquan Boldin, the receivers that we have on the roster don't make those big plays consistently, those tough catches consistently. And Anquan Boldin did that. He ripped the ball out of defenders' hands. Dennis Pitta, in my opinion, that playoff run was the best Dennis Pitta ever played. So he was at a high level. The offensive line meshed very well. The offensive line was playing the best it had ever played in the playoffs. And you guys remember that we didn't have Brian McKinney and he was being moved around, but we got him at left tackle, and they just meshed very well. And Joe Flacco had a great time. Also, we had Ray Rice, and Ray Rice is better than the running backs that we have now. And so it's just a lot of that. Now, the defense wasn't as good as it is now. The defense in the Super Bowl year, I believe, was middle of the pack, ranked 16th. But Joe Flacco and the offensive play during that time was so good that it offset the middling defense. And the answer to both of your questions is yes. Joe Flacco has declined since his peak in that playoff run, but also his talent has declined as well and isn't giving him the help that he really needs. So thank you so much for your question, Keith. And that has been the RavensSpace Daily for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. Please subscribe to our channel, check out our Patreon page, follow us on our different social medias, buy a t-shirt if you would like. Do whatever you want to do. Thank you guys so much, and go Ravens.